Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News, and Sentinels have done it, advancing to the grand finals of the AfreecaTV League International Tournament, taking down Team Liquid very impressively indeed in a 2-1 close-fought affair fashion, but a dominant final map performance on the Sunset. Loads of storyline to dive into today. How good can this Sentinels team be after taking down loads of powerhouse teams from many different regions in this tournament so far? Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, lots of updates on what's going on in the VCT for China. This is one of the reasons I would say why EDG Edward Gaming had such a hard time over the last couple of days. Of course, they went down to Team Liquid in the end as well to advance to this Sentinels match. So Team Liquid made it, EDG didn't. They fall out in top 6, just like DRX did, of course, in the other side of the bracket. And EDG got crushed in that series. It wasn't even close. You gotta think that for the poor EDG guys, they have been grinding it for months, mainly because the China Evolution series is not just a fun off-season tournament. That is critical for all of the teams to try and win and do as well as they can to actually qualify and get selected for the Chinese VCT. So, look, Edward Gaming going to be selected anyway. There's no denying about that because they're the best team. Well, you would think so. But then again, we said the same about Optic. But I think Edward will be fine. But then again, they've got to determine some teams. This, by the way, was the look at the Edward Gaming guys. I think after they'd maybe lost the map 1 in their series yesterday, it's like, yeah, these guys are exhausted. And sure, maybe that doesn't entirely excuse the poor performance they had this tournament, but I think all things considered, just give these guys a break, right? So in the Chinese region right now, they're trying to figure out who are going to be the 10 teams in the VCT, and we have lots of rumors about this, even all gamers apparently. So basically on Weibo, if they make an account over there, it's probably going to happen. And we see the same thing here with Wolves. So Wolves have, of course, the English football club, but they have ties with a Chinese ownership group, and they recently created a VALORANT division Weibo, basically in China, with the same background logo. So feels like that might well be happening, which makes it kind of like 4 out of 10. Now, officially yesterday, it was confirmed that FPX are in, of course. So they were, well, formerly, the Na'Vi boys now were formerly FPX, but they moved to the Chinese region. So FunPlus Phoenix are officially in. And they also confirmed Billy Gaming and JD Gaming. So you would expect that it might be only a matter of time until they confirm EDG, among others. But yeah, so far we have 3, and then presumably 4, 5, and things will happen relatively quickly on this one, I imagine, from this point onwards. Even Vanity was maybe quite keen to get involved with JD Gaming, but, you know, he's got some other things to focus on with that Cloud9 team for the new season. Did quickly want to mention as well, because there's been lots of questions, what's happening in the Americas VCT with Evil Geniuses. We know that Golden Guardians and Evil Geniuses were gone from the LCS. They made the decision to part ways, and there was rumors as to exactly what happened there behind the scenes. But for the VALORANT side, EG are obviously keen to maintain their spot. They won't decide to depart the VCT of their own accord because they get paid to be in there. There's a stipend that Riot give out to the teams to support their league. It's kind of like the opposite model in some respects of what the franchising model has been in esports so far. So EG, of course, want to stay. Whether Riot want to keep them, that's another question. But even if they decide not to, what do you do? Do you choose another organization? Do you wait a little while for G2 to become, to look like potentially a replacement for EG? I don't know. Of course, you don't want to screw over the players either, because Riot got a lot of backlash for that before when the whole Ascension drama happened. So one of the top guys from EG says, we think Riot is going to figure it out. I just don't know that we have the patience to go on that ride with them, but we are happy to be their partner in VALORANT. So, yeah, on the VALORANT side, EG want to stay. Whether that's going to be the same story, we've heard rumours the last few days, especially from Com and from others, that things are happening there behind the scenes. So I'm sure there'll be big updates probably shortly after this tournament that we're going to discuss in a couple of seconds goes through to its conclusion. Also, Bob, Queen Bobster, one of the top names in the Game Changers scene for the last 12 months or so, is actually going to look for a team and not in Game Changers. We've seen this happen before when players, I think understandably, don't necessarily want to be restricted to Game Changers, because when you're in GC, sure, you can win that and have good success in that, but if you want to, be the best in the world, you're not going to get there by winning GC necessarily, at least not playing there forever. So Bob's looking for new opportunities. I wonder where that might potentially lead. But let's talk about this AfreecaTV tournament, right? Because there's been some comedy things happening. PaperX are just about to start their series as I'm recording against T1. Many of you guys might know the results of that by the time you guys are seeing this video, but we've got plenty else to discuss. PaperX as well, I thought this is a hilarious tweet really, because who knows what they're doing with their roster. They keep putting players in, Monyet's in, Jing is in, and then like Mindfreak is out, and all this stuff is happening right now because Jing can still play, so Paperx are having fun with it, I guess. And they say that our team has been, this is obviously a joke, but our team has been experimenting using a proprietary technology developed in-house within Paperx, a specialized tool that dictates lineups and roles. Before each match, the team gathers in a room and presses a button, then a roster is randomly prepared. So yesterday we talked about this series, which was kind of wild between Team Liquid and T1, when, I mean, just have a look at this overall scoreboard. Okay, loads of players clutching 1v1s, couple of 1v2s, plenty of 2Ks. But how often do you see, like, Yampi had 4 4Ks and 6 players had an ace between them over the series? Like, you just don't see stuff like this every day at all. I don't know when the next time we'll see 6 players have an ace in 3 different maps. Just absolutely absurd stuff. But Team Liquid, after dropping down to losers, they played Edward and absolutely demolished them. Look, we talked about this series, we talked about the screenshot of these poor guys not having a good time, but yeah, they got wiped off the face of the planet here, really. Edward came and go down 13-5, 13-3, so they hopefully can take a bit of a break. Kang does not have a good time here at all, so yeah, Team Liquid just completely dispatch of them, and with any luck, they'll get a bit of a break. Now still, should they have played this poorly? Should they have been more competitive? Probably yes, but it is what it is, and it's actually quite nice to see other teams advance, just because I feel like we've seen a lot of EDG over the last few months, so cool to see, of course, the new Team Liquid team, how they would fare in a very impressive way. So, Team Liquid advanced. That meant that they would go on to play Sentinels in the first semi-final. Now, there's no losers bracket here. If you lose, you're done. So, just because they won all their group stage matches, that does not necessarily mean that for Sentinels or for T1 that they get a second chance now. It's still single elimination. Just because other teams got a second chance in the GSL style format groups doesn't mean that it's a double elim bracket. So, this is just a one and done. Play 3 maps, and whoever loses goes home, and whoever wins goes through. So, of course, Enzo and Zelsis having a bit of a back and forth, and Zelsis, we saw that he might have been somewhat unwell, but didn't seem to either affect him much, or just didn't seem to play any worse at all. And even Mystic, of course, on Liquid as well. Game day versus Sentinels, looking back at some of the Sen versus Fnatic days when he was on those teams, and Sentinels arguably back at a point now that they haven't been at for a very long period of time. TenZ on the Omen was again having a lot of fun with it today. We know that teams have had to adapt to the higher levels of white noise at this event in their players' ears, so the opponents can't hear as much as they might otherwise, meaning you can get away with some things you might not be able to online or in scrims, and it's that adaptation from Sentinels and that moving with the meta from those guys, and even at times creating the meta in terms of the way that they're structuring their team, that's really taking them to the next level at the moment. So I predicted a 2-1 victory here for Sentinels against Team Liquid, but I thought it was going to be, to be honest, I thought the maps were going to be closer than they actually ended up being. So Sentinels doing plenty of funny tweaks as a result of this, but Team Liquid have been really good. And look, in that EMEA region, sure, are Team Liquid considered to be number 1 in EMEA? No. You're looking at Fnatic, you're probably looking at Na'Vi, then maybe you're looking at Liquid. But I mean, the team is very good on paper. Like, of course, you got Nats there. They made some upgrades. Jampi is obviously insane. And Team Liquid did look pretty damn good in the group stages. Yes, they lost to T1. So, okay, Sentinels should have been the favourites here. But they're still going to be a top-ish team in the EMEA region, right? These guys aren't going to be at the bottom of the league, I wouldn't say at all. I think Team Liquid are pretty good. They've got some quality players. And, it's impressive to beat them in really any circumstance. So, game 1, it goes Sentinels' way. It was their pick on the split. They're just really good at this map at the moment. They win it quite comfortably. They get demolished, though, on the second map on the, I think it goes to Haven. That was Team Liquid's pick, and that goes their way. So then it was a decider on the Sunset. Very interesting map, really, to actually have picked as the decider, because it's a great map for Sentinels on paper, but, it's one that they lost quite handily to Paperx, I think, the other day. So I guess the wondering was, I mean, this shot was actually insane from Jampi as well. I guess the theory was from Team Liquid that, oh, sure, let's just play those guys on that map. And the funny thing is that if not for this round where this insane clutch happens, the mid-air no-scope, then this would have been even more emphatic for the Sentinels guys. They barely lost around on their defensive half. It was eventually a 9-3 half, and we know that on paper the 9-3 curse is a thing. The reality is that if you look at the numbers, like given the expected success from 9-3, it's actually not too dissimilar to the expected success from 8-4 or whatever you might imagine, but 9-3 is kind of known to be the curse number, but it doesn't always happen. So Sentinels take down Liquid 2-1. As I say, the split was pretty emphatic, their favour 13-8. Then Liquid bounced back. Nats especially had a really good map here, 13-5 on the Haven. Sassy had 3 frags, but fair play to Sentinels because they didn't dwell on this, they didn't get frustrated by it, so they came back on the Sunset and immediately won the first. You know, as I say, if not for that crazy shot from Yampi, it would have been 6-0 straight off the rip. They eventually go up 9-3, and then despite losing the pistol, they win the second round, and they then convert on doing so. And then they close out the game. Even the last round they won, it was a 4 versus 3. They had to hold on for the retake. Zekken had like 15 HP, and he gets 2 disgusting shots to get them into a 3 versus 2 in their favour, and then they get the trade to close out the game. So it was just incredibly well played from Sentinels. Zekken had a great map here individually. TenZ had some moments, like Mystic had 4 kills. Like, it was not even close this map, to be honest. Zekken with 25. Just like when you watch Sentinels play right now, they don't make many mistakes. And I think that's the key thing that I've noticed with their play. We know they've got the talent, and Zelsis, of course, now playing very well on the breach as well. We've got TenZ on the Omen, Zelsis on the breach. It's kind of wild to think about, but it's just the lack of mistakes, you know. They'll be in advantageous positions, or even positions where they're not advantageous, and they'll still almost always capitalize on them to their success. And when they're playing like that, it's like, how do you intend to beat this team right now? I mean, Gen.G is doing an IGLing masterclass, and they've got great talent on the roster. Zek and TenZ all playing well. So Sentinels advance to the finals, and coming into this tournament, I don't think that even many Sentinels fans would have predicted that the most popular team in the Americas would come through and win all the matches in the manner they've done. Okay, they've lost maps here and there, but they are still undefeated in series count going into the Grand Finals. Now, the Grand Finals task, I imagine, will be somewhat more challenging, and as TenZ says, 1 against Liquid, 2-1 GG's them Grand Finals. The Grand Finals is tomorrow, but they've advanced through. They will play the winner of T1 Paper X. So this series is just about to begin. So, I mean, as we know, it's Execute versus Forsaken. There's been a bit of trash talk between the two of them before the series as well, with Execute saying, oh, you know, you might be my younger brother, you think you're better than me, but I'm going to prove you wrong, etc, etc. So it's going to be exciting to see, but whoever wins, I think it should be a real challenge for Sentinels in the finals, and should be a great series. But just the fact that Sen have come this far in a tournament this stacked is very impressive for that team going into the new season. Just one final thing to mention, I've been giving you guys the update on this. Chet from NRG said quite some time ago now, looking for analysts, right, for the NRG team, and he's finally decided who he's going to choose, and he's going to DM them by Sunday. So maybe it's you, maybe it's not, but thanks, I guess, for the patience, he says, on this one. But very much interested your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.